So if you're looking to take your team's performance to even greater heights, then this video is for you. So I've created a series of 4 videos all about this particular topic, and this is the 3rd. So keep watching to get my psychology-based tips. For the best management and leadership advice, all underpinned by psychology, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every Friday. So if you watched last week's video, which was the 2nd in the series, you'll already have started to make improvements to how you motivate people in your team to perform better. So last week we looked at performance management, and this week we're going to be looking at ways of working. So the 3 research-based tips I share in this video are ones that have worked for the countless managers and leaders I've worked with over the past 20 years, and now it's your turn. Tip 1 is have moments of quiet time across your team. So Gloria Mark of the University of California in Irvine found interruptions and kind of the necessary recovery time took up about 28% of a person's day. So the study found that each employee spends around 11 minutes on any given project before they're interrupted, and then it took the average employee around 25 minutes to return to their original task. So kind of add that up and you'll see the effect on performance across the day and the week and the months. And Harvard professor Leslie Perlow, she worked with a company of underperforming, burnt out engineers who were constantly helping other colleagues solve problems at the expense of their own work. So she subsequently helped the engineers create dedicated windows for quiet time and kind of interaction time. And the results were remarkable. Productivity went up, well-being went up, and financial performance improved. So think about how you can create those moments of quiet time and interaction time in your own workplace. Tip 2, set up your project teams really carefully. So I know lots of you watching this, not only will you have your core team, but you'll be responsible for numerous projects as well. So in an experiment involving nearly 700 students at a university in Singapore, Roy Chen and Ji Gong found out how groups had formed. How they were formed had a really significant impact on performance. And what they found is those people who self-selected into project teams performed much better than those who were assigned, who were told what project teams to go into. And what they also found is the people who self-selected into certain project teams put in much more effort. And what was really interesting is that those particular people invested on average around 12% more hours than those who were assigned into project teams. So if you have some projects that need to be delivered, think about giving your team members a choice about which project they join. So before we get to the 3rd and final tip, why not comment below with the kind of the ways of working that you've introduced to your team that have kind of helped them become more motivated and perform better. So drop your comments in the box below so that others can learn from your own kind of wisdom and experience. Tip 3 is make sure you include any temps and interim workers in team activities. So a lot of managers I work with have temps and interims in their teams, and they'll often exclude them from team building activities or training, and this could be undermining performance. Researchers from the Netherlands carried out 2 studies where they surveyed people across 3 different countries to examine factors including contract types, kind of what their social networks in the workplace were like, the level of commitment they had, and kind of the level of competition between people. And in the first study involving over 300 people, those who were temporary workers unsurprisingly reported having kind of much sparser, less social networks in the organisation they were working in than their permanent colleagues. So in other words, they didn't have as many, they weren't connected to as many people in the work environment. And permanent workers reported that they actually were less likely to go to a temporary colleague for any information or advice. In the second study, which involved around 200 people, team effectiveness was higher in mixed worker groups, i.e. where you had temps and permanent workers, only where there was really good knowledge sharing, so people kind of shared knowledge and information with each other, and that was driven by the amount of commitment there was to the leader of the team, in other words, you. So if the leader kind of created high levels of commitment to the kind of the purpose and kind of setting out clearly what needed to be done and what it was that needed to be achieved, people were much more likely to kind of help each other and share information and knowledge with each other. So ensure that temporary staff are not just included in your kind of your standard team meetings, but also make sure that if you're doing anything around team building or training, that you include them as well. It can make a massive difference to productivity, motivation and performance. So now you have my 3 tips for improving ways of working in your team. But is there anything you can do to kind of keep momentum going? Of course there is. I've written an ebook all about how to build a high performing team, and it's research based, so I share with you some really interesting scientific research, and more importantly I share with you some of the activities that I use when I'm working with managers on building high performing teams. So you can access the book by clicking on the subscribe link in the description box below this video. And as I say, it's free. And if you want to get regular psychology-based tools and tips that are common sense and will help you, I have a monthly newsletter where I share really helpful advice to help you thrive and shine as a manager and leader. And if you like this video, please let me know by liking it below. Please give it a big old thumbs up because it makes a massive difference to how many other people get to see this video. Subscribe and also share with your colleagues. There might be people you work with who you think would benefit from watching this video too. And comment below if this video helped you or if you've got tips that you think other viewers might benefit from. And don't forget to tune in next Friday for the final video in this 4-video series on team performance. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next week.